Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Glow Up Secrets podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. Hello, and happy Sunday. And can we just take in that we only have one more Sunday left of July, and then we're already into August? That is crazy. I hope everyone has been thriving and pushing past barriers and limiting beliefs and the ways that we get stuck, and really also just enjoying this present moment. I feel like we've been really working on that on the podcast the past few months, so I'm really hoping we're all on the same page. And if we are on the same page, then I think today's message will resonate with you. So recently I've been really pushing myself to write in the mornings. Now, I typically journal in the mornings. You guys know I love a good journal practice. And so most days I do that. I look forward to it. I have my coffee. I've been sitting on my balcony because the sun has been out and it's been really warm. So I'm always usually doing that. But you guys also know, or some of you guys know if you've been listening for a while, I have been really wanting to cultivate a journal line, and I think it'll take me maybe a few more weeks, and then I will start to share with you guys what I have been cultivating, which is a little bit different than what I thought it would be, but it's just coming out so beautifully. But with that said, it involves me committing to working on this project. As anything in life, I think about the times when I wrote my book, which is behind me here, The Ultimate Glow Up Guide. I had to be committed, and I basically wrote every morning because, especially when you're doing something like writing, if you take a long time off, it can be really hard to get back into it, and you just have to keep not even pushing, but you just have to go through some of the things that I'm gonna remind you guys of, and I remind myself of when I'm really trying to work on something new. So this could be great advice for anyone who is really wanting to start a new project or just get out of your comfort zone and start the thing that you keep saying you want to do. This could also apply to anything to do with health and fitness, or, taking that next step when it comes to relationships, like just really anything. But recently I've been really reminding myself, in order for me to get this done and get this project out and for it to be beautiful, I'm really going to have to be intentional and commit to this thing. And over the past 2 weeks, I have gotten so much of this series done. I'm honestly so proud of all of the work that I have done in just a short amount of time. And it really has all come down to me simply taking the action. And it's kind of crazy how mind-blowing it is to me every time I go through this phase, because there's been multiple times where I've come to this realization that sometimes it's actually as simple as just taking action, but it can be so true. And I'm not saying that the action that you need to take towards something is going to feel easy and feel good, which I'll give you some advice on, but just the mere fact of, if you want something in your life, if you want to achieve something, you increase your chances of getting that thing simply by just trying. And it's in my personal belief that you can get and you can achieve whatever you want in your life if you just do it, if you just take action. And it doesn't mean that you might have to change the path or you might change your method on the journey of trying to achieve something. But I think sometimes we really like to just sit and talk about something that we really want, whether it's better health, better routines, you really want this project, you want to be a social media somebody, you want to get into a new career path, you want to be into these healthy dynamics and relationships, but it all always comes down to you actually trying. And I genuinely just believe that sometimes we don't realize, I feel like we gaslight ourselves into not realizing that actually we don't try, and try for a consistent amount of time. And I could even say with my journal line, I've had many thoughts about this, and I've touched on it here and there, and I've worked on it here and there. But in the back of my mind, I was always wishing it was done and that it really just be created, because I know how great I'll feel when it's completed and the impact it can make and everything like that. But I had to be real with myself and say, it could be done, and you could have this thing be quote unquote published and out there into the world if you just did it. But sometimes it's like we dance around the mere fact of the matter that what we want in life will require us to commit to it and take the action and to just do it. So if you're sitting around, you're kind of like dancing around things, you're dipping your toes into this and that and projects here and there, or I want to start this or whatever it is, you want something to change in your life. Here is some advice to kind of get you moving, because once you move, the magic will happen. Seriously. And the first thing that I really reminded myself when I wanted and knew that it was really time for me to commit to writing and working on this journal line, I just knew like there wasn't going to be any more like touching it here and there, because that's just not how I work and create, especially when it's something creative. It's very similar, like I said, to my book. So when I had some blocks wanting to come up, because typically you will, if you are like, okay, I need to take action on something and I need to commit to something, you will kind of have that perfectionist part of you that thinks, for one, the process of you doing the thing and achieving a goal will look and feel like different than it is. And you just have to remind yourself that it won't. And the reason why I'm saying that is we will wait for the perfect feeling or the perfect scenario or the way we think the process is going to be to getting the outcome. And so we don't do the action until those things are achieved, whether we like feel good that day or that our schedules are perfectly curated, or the times in our days that we can work on these things, or the season of life. Like we're waiting for this like perfect scenario to start, and it doesn't even need to be like that, and it genuinely is not how things come about anyways. When you start any sort of endeavor, it is going to require you to take messy action and for you to get the perfectionist way of thinking out of your brain. There's really just no space for this part of you, because the thing that you're stuck in right now is simply just taking that action. That's really, really it. And we need to be okay with taking a little bit of a messy action. And there's two examples I want to give you when it comes to taking messy action so you can understand where I'm coming from. So for one, I knew when I wanted to commit to writing in the mornings, there were going to be days where I don't feel like doing it and I don't want to. And the other day I was thinking about this and I was scrolling on Pinterest and I found a quote that really amplified what I was thinking about, how those days where you don't feel like doing it and you don't want to do it, or it feels like it's not worth it, or you're not ready, are the most important days. And they can actually be the key, the missing key that you need for a certain project or an idea, or again, just building character and changing yourself for the better and building confidence. And so I'm going to read it to you. It says, the most important spiritual growth doesn't happen when you're meditating or on a yoga mat. It happens in the midst of conflict, when you're frustrated, angry, or scared, and you're doing the same old thing, and then you suddenly realize that you have a choice to do it differently. And I really think about this in all aspects of life. The best lessons in life came out of pressure, came out of the messiness, came out of those hard days, if you respond differently to it. Because we can have a really shitty day, a depressing day, a day where you don't want to feel like doing it. But if you just go into that and you allow yourself to go there, and you ruin your day because of it, you don't go to the gym because of it, you don't write because of it, you stay in that bad mood all day, then you're just going to be responding the same way, and you won't find any lessons and you won't actually have any growth from those things. But the wisdom really does lie in you pushing past that resistance, or you working with it, I should say, because I find, for instance, there's a practice that I am cultivating for my journal series, and it's for the days that you don't feel like you have any sort of like desire. I was going to say desire to live, but that's a little bit of a stretch. But the days that you just don't feel like anything, you're not in the mood for anything, your mood might be really low, you might be hard on yourself for some reason, your mind might be going to the negative thoughts and the spirals and things like that. We could look at what we're feeling right there as bad, wrong, shouldn't be happening, and then we just get annoyed that we're like that, and then we just stay in that all day. Or we can go deeper into understanding why we are feeling the way that we're feeling. And for this instance, when it comes to journaling, there is some powerful wisdom and lessons in the days that you're feeling really low, because you can figure out why you are feeling the way you're feeling, or maybe where in your life you're not fulfilled, or what might be really on your heart that you just been holding in that you need to let out. And when you do that, it allows you to grow. It allows you to see yourself in so many different ways. It allows you to take a next step forward. But before that, you didn't even know what step to take. So it's really important that we take even the bad days, the annoying, the messy days, the ones where we don't feel like it's good enough or whatever. And we really try and hold that with us and understand that those are part of the process as well. Another example I have is I have been telling myself that I want to work out at my boyfriend's gym. We obviously don't live together, and he has a really beautiful, like, nice gym, and I'm always passing it. I'm like, oh, I really want to go and I want to work out, and it's on the weekends, so I'll give myself this. Typically I try and do like my workouts throughout the week, and then maybe a Saturday morning Pilates, and then sometimes I go to his place, sometimes he comes here, depending on what we're doing. But the weekends that I am at his place for a few days, either if he's at work or he goes to the gym, he doesn't use his condo gym, which I don't know. I feel like some guys like their specific like gym environments and stuff like that, but I love a good condo gym. Like, I really do. I'm very like introverted. Like, I don't want to see a lot of people, and his gym is beautiful and it has everything that I need. So I've been trying to set a goal of being like, okay, if I'm going to stay here for like 3 days plus, then I definitely need to hit at least one workout throughout those like 3 days, let's say. And I've been falling short and not really pushing myself to do it. Mind you, I'll go out for long walks. I'll take Theo to the water. It's beautiful over there. But I'm like, girl, like, let's try and let's just push ourselves to do one. Like, we can do it. But there was a few things that was kind of getting in my way. It was uncomfortable. It was a new environment. He walked me through the gym. I seen it before, but it's still, the barrier to entry is a little bit higher just because it's a new environment. And so it really required me to push myself. And I've been in this little era of like the journaling in the mornings and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, this is your time. We're going to take this same mindset, because we know it's never going to feel good and right and pretty and perfect anyways, Alicia. So let's not wait for the day that it feels like that, or that you feel like you have the most energy ever also to go to the gym right now. So let's just try and go, right? And I get there. I don't necessarily have a plan, but I was like, I do really want to work on my cardio a little bit more. That's kind of like one of my goals in the gym. And so I go on the treadmill, I walk a little bit, and then I see the Stairmaster. I'm like, you know what? I don't have a Stairmaster in my gym. And I know it's really, really hard, especially if you haven't done a Stairmaster in a very long time. Like, ugh, my gosh, like 3 minutes on that thing and you're dying. So I was like, you know what? Let's just see how long I can go. I go on the Stairmaster. I get on not an incline, but whatever, like the level of hardness. It was pretty hard. And so I got myself up to doing it for 7 minutes, and then I was gassed. Like, I was so, like, I literally felt like I was kind of gonna faint. But mind you, the gym was a little hot in there as well. So I got a really good sweat, and I did feel good. Like, my legs felt really good. It reminded me of how I felt in college when I used to do the Stairmaster. And then I sat on the steps for a second because I literally needed to take a deep breath. But I was like, I can't do anything else because I am actually so gassed. And that really was my cardio for the day. But then the perfectionist part of me wanted to kind of seep into my mind and be like, that's not enough. You should be working out for more than like 7 minutes. I mean, I did a little treadmill thing, but you should be doing more and this, that. And I was like, I could go one of two ways right now in my mind. I could like fall into this is not enough and whatever bullshit anyway. Or I could think about how, isn't it amazing that you just got into this gym? Because now when you want to set that goal to go to the gym again, when you're here the next weekend, it's going to be that much easier to get into the gym because you've already done it. You've already walked in there and you've already been like, this, it's going to be just easy. So that alone is a success. If nothing else, you just got into that gym. And then secondly, okay, you did 7 minutes, which in your mind is like, oh, that's not enough time to work out. But it actually kind of is, especially when it comes to like cardio, when you're really, really pushing yourself. But 7 minutes is amazing. You got your ass on the Stairmaster to begin with. And the next time, maybe you can push yourself to doing 10 minutes. And then over time, you're going to be able to go faster and harder. And isn't that something to be celebrated? Isn't that the thing that is actually going to start the process and you getting to that end goal? The answer is yes. But again, we wait for the day that we feel so motivated and so inspired, and we can do like the hour-long workout or the hour-long working session. And actually, I pushed myself on the weekend, because usually when I'm at his place, we wake up in the morning. I sometimes wake up earlier than him, and I'll just like have my coffee, like walk the dog, whatever. But I've been really wanting to commit to writing. And so I was like, just because you're not in your own space, Alicia, doesn't mean that you can't write. And also my boyfriend's very much so like, do what you want in your mornings. Like if I wake up and you're journaling, so fine. Like, he doesn't care, and he supports that. And he has a balcony where it's so peaceful, like 10 times more peaceful than it is downtown Toronto. I will say that. And it's just so quiet and so beautiful. And so I made my coffee, went outside, and I'm like, this is a perfect time to journal, Alicia. And guess what? I did that both mornings that I was there, and I felt so proud of myself, because I was like, I pushed past that perfectionist part of me that says, no, like, just wait until you feel like a certain way, or you're not in your environment, so you can't do it, which was all just excuses. And I actually had so many beautiful breakthroughs during those times of writing and pushing past my comfort zone and all of those things, right? Even the gym, that I have so much wisdom, so many lessons. I feel confident about myself. I have more capacity to show up in different ways now, and also bring it to you guys in terms of the podcast is great as well. So it's just like, so many great things can come from the discomfort. And I think that coming back to that quote of, thinking that we're going to evolve when we're doing our perfect meditation practice, or when we feel really good when we're doing yoga, like, that doesn't mean that we won't feel like that, but it actually is those hard times that really, really make you better. The next thing that you might have already kind of pulled from what I was talking about, but that is to take action as quickly as you can, because this is another thing that keeps us stuck. We tend to negotiate ourselves out of a lot of different habits, especially when we're starting them for the first time, whether we tell ourselves it's going to take a really long time, or that, again, we are waiting for the time that we feel super perfect, or we say, oh, okay, like, let's say for my supplements, if I have it pop in my head, oh, I need to take my iron today, I'll be like, oh, I'll just take it with like my lunch. No, I can just take it now because I just had a smoothie. Like, I literally actually just did this. I could really just take it now because I still have food in my system. I don't need to wait for the next meal. And I'm just saying that because sometimes when we push things off, we will forget about it, or we won't feel like doing it then. So anytime you have that little like feeling of, yeah, I should probably just go to the gym now, or like take my supplements now, or let me start this project now, just do it. And it really actually takes you way less time than you think as well. So anytime that I have that urge to want to take that action, I know it's like a sweet spot and it's only going to last a little bit. So I really try and take that action. Even today when I was working out, or when I wanted to work out, I did my journaling and my writing this morning, and then I was taking Theo for a walk, and I knew I needed to eat like a little bit of something. But as soon as I had that thought of like, you know what, I feel like let's just go to the gym like right away, because I was considering, do I record or do I go to the gym first? But the feeling was just go to the gym because you got that energy, and let's just do it now. And I just committed to it, and I was like, that's exactly what I'm doing. My plan is, as soon as I get back, I'm gonna have a little bit of food so I can have some fuel, and I'm going to the gym, and that's that. And we're not gonna negotiate, and we're not gonna keep like going back and forth. So sometimes it's just about taking as quickly as you can action towards the thing that you need to do, and allow it to be messy. It does not need to be perfect. Bringing it to the next thing is doing the thing even if you don't feel like doing it. Again, I've kind of already been talking about this, but something I really try to remind myself is doing a little bit is better than nothing. So even if I really don't feel like I really want to go to the gym, like I remember this morning I was thinking about working out, and I was like, you know what I actually do is I try and think about the next thing that I have to do, like one foot in front of the other, instead of like 3 steps ahead, which would have been the gym. Like as soon as I wake up, that's not what I do first thing in the morning. I do a million things before I go to the gym. I have to give Theo his Benadryl because he's literally reverse sneezing all the time. Side note, the vet says that it's his first allergy season, and sometimes he gets excited as well. So anyways, I got to do that like in the morning, so that way it kind of sets in. And then when I walk him, he's not so prone to like reverse sneezing and things like that. I feed him, I'll play with him, I will take my supplements, and then I'm doing the writing, journaling. So I have like a million other things that I do before I actually go to the gym. So when I'm in my head about that, I just think about like, first of all, let's just not think about that, because that's not even what we need to think about right now. And mind you, when it comes time to do the thing, I typically am more ready to do it. But if I do feel like I don't want to do the thing, I just tell myself as much as I can, a little bit is better than nothing. And let's just try and do like 10 minutes of writing, or let's just go into the gym. And you know what, Alicia, you can just half-ass that workout. It's honestly fine, but let's just get down there and do it. And I never half-ass the things. And like I said, the days that you don't feel like doing it, and when you actually move through that anyways, amazing things come out of that. It's either you write for longer, or you really hit the gym even harder, or you just build character and you find something that you haven't found when you were writing, and you're emotionally releasing, and it was a really good release, even if it was a small amount of time you were journaling. Or even though you went to the gym and maybe you didn't get everything done, like you worked on your mobility, or the fact that you just feel better because at least you did that. Like, it's those small little things. And the last thing that I've been reminding myself, and I actually said this on my second channel. If you're new here, I have a YouTube channel, like a quote unquote main channel, where I've been talking a lot about health and wellness. And recently I posted a video on how I broke the binge restrict like eating cycle. I had a really bad relationship with food, very, very unhealthy. So if you guys have struggled with that, I have a new updated video on that channel. I can link it down below. But in that video, I was talking about how something that's really helped me stay healthy and not in the binge eating cycle is really focusing on consistency over intensity. Because what I used to do would be like set a goal for eating healthy or moving my body like 5 times a week, every single week, and I would never be able to really hit that. Or if I did, it just would be like genuinely so hard. And I realized how many times I was going up super high and then crashing down. It wasn't really giving me any sort of results, whether it was in the gym or my mental health or like my actual health, because I wasn't really being consistent with anything. I would go super hard working at the gym or working out at the gym or dieting super hard, and then I would crash and burn, and then like my body just like never had enough time to reset and heal essentially. So I've learned with many things in my life to set small realistic goals and focus really on consistency. So if I want to be somebody who is healthy and moving my body a lot, my goal is at least twice a week at the gym. And hopefully I'm doing that on a week to week basis, like kind of forever. Obviously there's going to be days maybe you're sick or on your period and things like that, but that is so much better if you look at it from like a year's standpoint. Okay, you going to the gym twice a week consistently every single week, you are going to find benefits, whether it's your actual physical, like the way that you look, fitness, tone, losing weight, or even, you know, building muscle, gaining weight, whatever it is, but also your mental health, your habits. Like when you're doing that consistently, you're gonna see so many more results. And that's how I look at any other thing. So for me, when it comes to writing, I'm really trying to make a goal of pushing myself past that resistance, even on the days that I don't feel well. But if there is a day where, you know, there's just really no alignment when it comes to writing, and this is exactly what I did with my book as well, I try to stay in it. Like I really try and remind myself to stay in it, which means if I skip a day, I'm trying my best to get back on it as quickly as I can the next day. My boyfriend always talks about this when it comes to the gym. If he has to skip the gym, it's usually always like there's never really a reason why he doesn't, other than a really, really long work day and he just can't fit it in. But his kind of like rule for himself is like no more than 2 days you skip, because, you know, when you're doing like 3 days and 4 days, then it's just becoming this like not so healthy, like habitual habit. So doing your best to stay in it and stay in rhythm as much as you possibly can, which means sometimes you need to change things up so that you don't feel like you want to crash out and burn, let's say when it comes to like working out or something like that. Or for me, when it comes to writing, there's a lot of different things that I can work on within my writing. So not every single day needs to be the same, which I think can be really helpful as well. But the main thing that I want to urge you guys to just remember, because I know you already know this and I know this as well. Keep doing your best. Just do your best to do the things that you know will keep you in it and keep you in alignment. And this is what I mean. If you are crossing boundaries with yourself and you are not doing the habits, the practices that you know will get you in a good mindset and get you motivated to do the thing that you're trying to accomplish, it's going to be very easy for you to skip you working on the project every morning, or skip the gym, or skip doing your meal prep for the week, because you've basically set yourself up for failure. And so you need to think about the things that really do fuel you to allow you to show up bigger and better in life. Some of them for me is making sure, like, if I do not get sleep, I am pretty much screwed. Like, the day, it's not over, but it's just such a drag. And I'm so much more susceptible to negotiating myself out of things and pushing them off and letting my perfectionism part of me take over, because genuinely, like, I'm pretty depleted. So it's really like a non-negotiable for me to get into bed at a certain time so that I can get my sleep. I take my magnesium and I wake up around the same time every day. And this is also why I really stress the importance of a journal practice for myself, because a journal practice and spending time with myself, especially in the mornings, has just allowed me to really be successful in so many areas of my life, whether it's just working through my emotions and showing up better in my relationship or like friendships, life in general, me being able to work towards some of the big goals that I've had in my life, the things that I've accomplished, whether it was my book, YouTube, podcasting, getting better with finances, getting better with my health, everything like that. It requires a level of me feeling mentally stable. That's just like what I need. So I need to do these practices, or I do feel very out of alignment and I feel not lost, but I just don't feel well. And when it comes to specifically my podcast episodes, the best episodes and just the best like insights and wisdom and stuff always come from me coming inwards to myself and writing. So that's very, very important to me when it comes to my work as well. I also think when it comes to things like partying, if you're drinking a lot, of course, the next day you're gonna feel like shit. You might have anxiety. That's how I feel if I drink way too much, which I really don't ever drink way too much anymore. But I know my limits. I know the times that are best for me to drink if I'm gonna drink, or even have some cannabis if I'm going to have some. Like, there are boundaries. There are, I was gonna say rules, but not really. It's just times that I know that that's not going to affect how I move in life and affect the way that I'm going to show up to be able to take action on the things that I'm trying to do in my life, because it's just like, that's what will happen. We get in our own ways a lot of the times. I think the same thing with, like, if you're in an unhealthy relationship, like, it's no wonder that you're struggling to take care of yourself or start a new project when you're mentally depleted, because all you're doing is being anxious all day, or you're fighting all day, or whatever the case is, right? So you really just want to think about some of the things that might be depleting you, because then it's like, no wonder you're not going to take action or feel like taking action on these things. So I'm going to end the podcast because Theo is up and he's ready to rumble. He is ready to rumble and he is ready to go. But yeah, guys, I feel like I've just been making a lot of progress in my life, and it's from that mere fact of just understanding that if I want what I want, it's going to require commitment and it's going to require action. And how I commit and take that action is going to be through consistency, through love and compassion, and dropping that perfectionism mindset and allowing it to be messy and allowing it to be whatever it needs to be, and just to keep going, because that is really, obviously, that you're taking action, so automatically you're winning when you're doing that. But also you'll find a lot of wisdom and things that you need on the journey of becoming that new version of you, or hitting those goals that you didn't even think, by actually just taking that action. So I hope this episode helped or motivated you at all. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next, any topics, any requests. I have some ideas, things that are coming up that I'm really excited about to share with you guys. But if you guys want any more advice when it comes to taking action towards something that you've been really wanting to, and you've been wanting to cultivate and manifest in your life. So with that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.